Hey everybody, and welcome back to another segment of the Butcher Shop. Let's talk about what to expect when you see an ad like this. The ad reads, fresh top round roast, $2.88 a pound. That in itself is a pretty good deal, but maybe you don't want a roast. Maybe you want some stew or some extra lean ground beef. Well, it really is that simple. All you have to ask your butcher is, hey, can I have 3 pounds of top round roast, and can you grind that into extra lean ground beef for me? And you can literally do this with any cut of meat. I mean, once you know what cuts you can get out of an inside round or a top round, then you know what to ask for. Since all these cuts come from the same piece of meat, it's not any harder to make one versus the other. But let's say you want a few different kinds of pieces of meat. Let's say you want 5 pounds of top round roast, and can you cut that into 3 pounds of cube steaks, 1 pound of stew, and 1 pound of stir fry, please? It really is that simple. All you have to do is ask. By cutting an inside round about 1.5 to 2 inches thick, you get what they call a London broil. Now, a London broil is not a piece of meat that you want to cook all the way through. You want to cook it till about medium to medium rare and then slice it thin after you're done cooking it. Our second cut of meat here is a top round steak. It's the exact same cut as a London broil, only about 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick. Next, what we have is what they call Broil, and this is made by thinly slicing a top round, not all the way through, just most of the way through, and leaving a little bit on the bottom, flipping the edge down, and then cutting the same thing on the other side, which makes an open butterfly steak that's thin sliced. And a lot of people use this for like making beef roulade, anything basically that you would stuff or roll, because it's a bigger piece of meat that you can easily make this out of. Basically, chunking an inside round into any spot will give you a top round roast. I could have took this whole piece of meat and chunked it all into roasts, and basically you can do that with any part of it. Our next cut of meat is what you would call a tenderized top round steak, or as some remember it as a Swiss steak, and this is accomplished by dropping it one time through the tenderizer. Next, by shaving really thin slices against the grain, we can make what they call sandwich steaks or chip steaks. This is great for pan frying, for making steak hoagies, or if you want to slice it up for fajitas, anything that's really quick and pan frying, sandwich steaks do a really great job. Using this same technique by slicing really thin on a larger portion of the muscle, it makes it very nice for making beef jerky. Top round or inside round is usually the ideal piece of meat for getting beef jerky from. Our next cuts of meat are what they call cube steaks. By just taking any portion of the meat and chunking it up and running it through the tenderizer several times, will give you a nice uniform cube steak. Next, by thin slicing the top round muscle and then cutting it into skinny strips will give you stir fry. Slicing it about 1 inch thick and then cutting it into about 1 inch cubes will give you a nice uniform stew meat. Following the same principle of making beef stew, except if you make them into smaller cubes, it's something they refer to as beef tips. It's basically just a little square piece of meat. A lot of people use these for like beef tips over noodles or something like that. So there you have it. Here is a few different cuts of meat that you can get from a top round. So the next time you see top round roast or top round steak or something like that on sale, all you have to do is go to your butcher and say, hey, I would like to have this, this, and this, and I want it for the same price as the top round. This is the best way to save money in a grocery store and still get all the cuts of meat that you really want. If you found this video informational on how to save money at the grocery store, then hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for our next video on learning more cuts of meat.